welcome to episode 175 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe. Co-created by Bruce Timm. I have food coming out of my mouth. I am Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And we've hit a milestone, Cameron.
We have.
175, that's pretty crazy.
If we could make the holographic cover version of a podcast like you see on the special numbers for comics.
Yeah.
We would.
Yo,
Imagine
we totally
us
would.
with a nice sheen right now, and you're kind of tilting us side to side.
I know Shane wasn't available to join us.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes. What a moment. What an occasion, Chris.
It is. No, it's exciting. And, it I don't know if it would have worked out better to have 175 be our season 1 finale versus our season 2 premiere, but regardless, here we are.
We're here.
And we thought about trying to do some sort of bonus episode, but the corner we wrote ourselves into is that since we have these random non-numbered episodes, only episodes about the DCAU count.
Right. Because we're technically like 210 at this point.
I don't know, 220 or something like that. It's crazy. We're well past 175. But we're like, well, we have to do it DCAU. But luckily, I loved this premiere, so it kind of worked out fine.
I didn't.
Well, you're wrong, and we'll get into it. But yeah, so this is going to be the Justice League Season 2 premiere, Twilight.
Yep, we meet the vampires of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
They play baseball in the rain.
The origins of Raw Bat and Bat.
Yep.
It's going to be great.
It's very ahead of its time.
Very much.
I'll say that.
Yeah. I'm going to proudly say that I have never read nor seen a single Twilight.
Wow, I've not read them, obviously.
Yeah, you don't read.
No.
Can't, maybe.
You don't know.
We don't know, actually. Like, there's that theory that no one in Star Wars can read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. I only know common.
Yeah. Which actually...
Or basic.
Basic, yes. Which actually, it's kind of fitting, because for me, the opening of this episode felt very, very Star Wars.
I thought they were going to pull... Yes, I agree. I thought they were going to pull back and it was going to be like Flash in a movie theater.
Oh,
Because it felt
okay.
it felt very cinematic.
It is very cinematic. Yeah, it's kind of... I mean, I love this opening. It may have helped that I happened to watch this right after the latest episode of The Mandalorian, which was fucking epic. And then I was already on a high when I started this episode almost immediately afterwards. So I was already on a Star Wars, riding high on it.
Yes.
So then it starts out this big epic space, but I'm like, oh my God, it's more Star Wars. This is awesome. The opening is very aligned with the opening of the original Star Wars movie. We have, one fleet of ships trying to escape another fleet of ships. They're on the run. There's laser blasts going everywhere. All these explosions and stuff. And it's very big in scale and cinematic. And then we quickly realize oh, this is Darkseid's fleet escaping, which is pretty crazy. You don't often think of Darkseid as being on the back foot.
Right.
But here he is fleeing from what we presume to be now the new Genesis, much newer, sleeker looking fleet, taking him out. And it focuses it on, good old Steppenwolf, who we only know because of the fucking Justice League movie.
I know. Did you have a involuntary moment in your body? It's ugh.
Yeah, I
No,
didn't like that I knew who he was, and I only knew who he was because of a movie that I despise.
Right.
I didn't like that. But he's, basically getting just ripped apart, and so he calls up Darkseid. He hops on a Zoom with Darkseid. They're like, "What up, DS?"
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Can you see me? Yeah. Wait, I think you're on mute. Can you wait? Is your connection okay? Yeah. Oh, what?
I know it's fine. I said it myself. You can't act like you can't hear me.
Yeah, hang on. Let me wait. Can you screen share? I think I have to give you permission.
Well, if you just turn off your video, then I think your audio quality will go up a little.
Okay, yeah. So let's just do audio, then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call you. Just don't worry about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could have been an email.
It could have been an email.
But yeah, he calls up Darkseid, and he's in retreat, and Darkseid basically just tells him take as many as you can with you, and then Steppenwolf gets killed.
Yeah.
His ship gets
as it should
destroyed.
be. Fucking get rid of him.
Again, do I only consider that to be a big deal because I know who he was because of the movie? Otherwise I'd be oh, it's just some dude in a weird hat.
Right, yeah, I would have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I mean, he appeared briefly in one of the other Darkseid episodes, but again, I only knew who he was because of fucking Justice League.
Yeah.
But
this curse that Zack Snyder has put on us.
I know. Oh, the curse that never ends, too. But yeah, so he's killed, and I thought this was crazy that then the new gods, they boom tube the wreckage so that it lands on Apocalypse and destroys Darkseid's palace, his house, whatever you want to call it. And you know, it's a pretty his empire. It's
your new empire.
It's a pretty epic way to start off the episode, the season. Like, I mean, not holding back at all. Like jumping straight in, this massive, huge scale conflict, putting a well-known villain in a situation we've never seen him in before, you know, in a precarious situation. Like, to me, it was very surprising. I forgot that's how this episode started. And I was like, all right, I'm 100% on board right from the beginning. I take it maybe you were less so.
No, I enjoyed that part.
Okay.
What I didn't enjoy is the next scene, because they said a lot of things wrong.
The next scene being when Darkseid shows up to the Watchtower to ask for help, and the next scene being when Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl are talking about what didn't you like about that? Because there's a whole subplot going through here about how Hawkgirl has been separated from her home planet and misses home. So what about that did not work well for you?
Well, it starts off with her just watching a video of two hawks flying, which I really enjoyed.
I gotta admit, I kind of forgot about that part. Kind of forgot about that.
Well, it reminded me of there's that shot in SpongeBob that people love to make fun of when he's watching like a sea anemone, and Gary walks in and he like freaks out and changes it to sports, and it's supposed to be like he's watching like sea porn.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she's just watching two hawks fly feels so weird. But then she goes on. Martian Manhunter's asking like, "Oh, why don't you ask John and the Green Lanterns, because they will know what the mascara is?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, no. The Green Lanterns don't know the mascara, and
okay, again, Thanagar, not Themyscira.
Thanagar, damn it.
Yeah,
and that's bullshit, Chris. Because Thanagar has a Green Lantern
in this universe.
In a universe, Issamot Holt is the Green Lantern of Thanagar.
You know what? I feel like my constant complaining about you not doing research has really backfired.
This is just from reading from a couple weeks ago. Issamot Holt is... So there's another race on Thanagar. I don't know if they go over that later.
I don't think so.
So there's like the Hawk people, the Thanagarians.
Yes.
They just took on the title of their Earth. But there's another entire race of lizard people. There's the Lizard Kin or the Lizard Con or something.
Oh.
That are kind of just like walking alligators.
I feel like a different... DC property did this at some point. Brave and the Bold, maybe? I don't know. This sounds sounds familiar.
Maybe, yeah. So Thanagar, I don't know when.
Is it Young Justice? Does Young Justice focus on the...
Maybe, because Young Justice goes over Ran more. Because there's a big conflict going on between Ran and Thanagar.
Right.
Now that I think about it, the timeline doesn't quite line up.
Right.
In my head.
Great.
Because the reason Ran and Thanagar are in their war is because Superboy Prime moves Ran into the Thanagarian system because of Alexander Luthor in Infinite Crisis, if you remember these thread points that are not important to anyone.
Nope. Great.
And that's what started the war. Is they give a Thanagarian a ring. Sorry, they give a Lizardkin a ring, and they give a Ranian a ring. And the Ranian uses his ring to just kill more Thanagarians. And they're like, oh, I can't do that.
I'd say the simpler explanation is that that's not how it works in this version of the DC universe.
Fine, Chris, fine. But I have to prove that I know Green Lantern sometimes.
Also, and this is something that we'll save kind of for spoilers, and we'll get into at the end of the season. But also, maybe everything that Hawkgirl is telling us here is not entirely true.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So for all we know, maybe Thanagar isn't so far away as to not having been detected by the Green Lantern Corps.
Up front, I'm sure everyone probably assumed this, or if I've already lost all the credit that I deserve.
Yep.
I've never seen Starcrossed.
Right.
And I know it's an invasion. I know that much.
Yes.
And the Thanagarians are coming. But that's all I know.
Okay. So, yeah. So maybe everything she's saying is not entirely true.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind.
But don't fucking bash the Green Lanterns for it, Hawkgirl. They know.
She wasn't bashing the Green Lantern. She's like, we're just so far away. They haven't even found us yet. They're in like the outer rim.
fine.
or whatever. I don't know how this works in this universe.
The Thanagar does dislike the Green Lanterns. They like to deal with their own problems themselves. So there is like a conflict going on between
there you
them
go.
already.
See, not the Green Lantern's fault. Calm down. It's fine. Was this one of your 2 rants?
It's one of 2 rants.
Okay, good.
That's just coming soon.
All right. But yeah, so that's the whole subplot about how she misses her people. But the main story here is that Darkseid, comes to ask the Justice League for help because after he's handed his ass by New Genesis, a new invading force shows up, and it's Brainiac.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically comes to Justice League. He's like, hey, can you come help me get rid of Brainiac? Because once he's done with me, he's going to come for everyone else.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly, in the universe.
Even if you're also my enemy.
Even though we're all enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at this point now, Brainiac is actively assimilating all the data on Apocalypse, and then he will do as he always does and destroy it at the end. And so when Darkseid boom tubes into the Watchtower to say this, and he basically just offers a plea for help because his people are going to die, Superman just says, good.
Yeah, Superman is pissed in this episode.
And
understandably.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think this is part of the reason I love this so much is, one, it's bringing back 2 of the best villains so far in the DCAU, Darkseid and Brainiac. It shows a side of Superman we don't get to see, which is the side of him that gets mad.
Yeah.
He is fully prepared to let all of Apocalypse die because he hates Darkseid so much. And so I thought I'd offer a quick refresher on where we left Darkseid, because it has been a while for us, because this has all happened at the very end of Superman. So obviously,
it's 2 years ago.
It's like 2 years ago. It's been a while. Obviously, Darkseid was a recurring villain in that series. So there was Apocalypse Now, which was when he invaded Earth and he killed Dan Turpin, right?
With napalm.
With napalm?
Isn't that Apocalypse Now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
To make sure my references are right.
Yes, exactly. It's the smell of fire pits in the morning.
Yes.
So
the smell of Apocalypse in the morning.
Exactly. But so when we last saw Darkseid was the 2-part episode Legacy that ended up being the Superman series finale. And so in that one, Darkseid had brainwashed Superman into being one of Darkseid's pawns, basically, and set him loose on Earth and had Superman lead an invasion force of Earth. And over the course of that battle, Superman nearly beats Supergirl to death. Mm-hmm. And it's right after that he kind of snaps out of the brainwashing. And so then he goes to Apocalypse to fight Darkseid and ultimately ends up defeating him. And he throws Darkseid onto the ground in front of all of, the people of Apocalypse. And it's he's done, he's defeated. This planet is yours to rule now. And they all come up to Darkseid and start trying to take him away to go get healed. And Superman is just aghast at the whole thing. How can you do this to this monster? And as Darkseid put it, it's I am many things, Kal-El, but here I am a god. And so no wonder Superman, one, has a personal grudge against Darkseid because Darkseid brainwashed him into betraying Earth, all of his friends, his family. Not only did the whole world all of a sudden now doubt Superman at the end of that episode, but he doubted himself. He had been turned into his worst fear, which is to be a weapon, not a hero.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he's seen that from his perspective, the people of Apocalypse are kind of irredeemable. Getting rid of Darkseid won't change the fact that they still, are loyal to him. From his point of view, Darkseid is such a plague on the universe that it's a worthwhile cost, basically, to lose that entire planet and all of its people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty extreme when you think that this is Superman who is saying this. Mm-hmm. This is the guy who will go out his way to try and save someone anytime he can. And it just goes to show how truly irredeemable he sees Darkseid and Apocalypse.
Yeah, or even the roles reversed and Batman has to come in and be like, hey, Clark, or hey, Superman. Because he does call him Clark in this episode, which I thought was very impactful.
Calls him Kent.
Kent, sorry. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, even he's like, hey, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
People still need our help.
Yeah. Yeah, Batman has to put him in his place. And it's worth acknowledging, too, that one of the last times we've seen Brainiac, one of the many times when he's seemingly destroyed and isn't going to come back and then does, is he had brainwashed Batman into, building a rocket so that he could escape Earth at nighttime. So, Batman's no stranger to this sort of stuff. Now, the scale is nowhere near the same, and I don't think he takes that stuff as personally as Superman does. But yeah, this is a side of Superman we haven't really seen yet.
Yeah.
And I think it continues to play out in a pretty cool way over the course of the episode. But yeah, so the Justice League begrudgingly goes to Apocalypse, and we got what I thought was a pretty cool, relatively short sequence of watching the forces of Apocalypse fight against Brainiac and all of his little robotic minions.
They have like dragon cannons.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's cool to see two very different alien aesthetics here at the same time. Like Brainiac, obviously, very very geometric, lots of lines and circles, and very technologically focused. Versus Darkseid, who in this iteration almost feels medieval.
I was gonna say, it's like future medieval.
Yeah, exactly. That's your point. Like, he has like dragon, like cannons in the shape of dragons, rolling along the ground, spewing fireballs at Brainiac's floating laser shooting drones.
Yeah, I could see like a trebuchet with plasma balls.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's
on fire.
On fire,
obviously,
of course.
Everything has to be on fire.
Yeah,
on Apocalypse.
Yeah, plasma balls are on fire of sorts, right?
Yeah, that works.
That's how plasma works, I think. Sure, but I think there are times when the galactic element of this universe can feel a little samey. Like I remember we talked about that with both Warworld and in Blackest Night. That it just kind of felt like the same sort of generic aliens we had seen in the Superman era.
Yeah,
and I feel like here, these two extremes really did contrast each other really well.
Yeah. And we've also seen this, they kind of like prepped us for this look too. Because as we brought up before, when they're at the Halloween party in the Etrigan episode.
Right, yeah.
A lot of them are wearing these costumes.
Yeah, a lot of them are dressed like the New Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do spend some amount of time on New Genesis with the New Gods.
Yes. And we see a character that I haven't thought about in a minute. Forager.
Yeah.
I love his look.
He looks really good.
I love this version of Forager so much more than the Young Justice version of Forager.
Well, yeah, I was really thrown by the Young Justice version because this is the version I remember where he just kind of looks like more like a normal man of sorts, and he just has this kind of a very distinct looking face compared to the one in Young Justice, which is he looks like a bug. Like
because the New Gods always refer to them as bugs.
Yeah, which is I think here played more for highlighting just status and just what pretentious assholes the New Gods are.
Yeah.
I mean, you know much more about Greek mythology than I do, but I feel like there's some reminiscence here about, the Greek gods being up on Olympus, doing their thing and just completely disregarding humanity below them.
So here's rant 2.
Oh, great.
I would argue this is not Greek, this is Norse.
Here. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because, he's definitely being All-Father.
Yeah.
High Father, All-Father. He's very Odin-esque.
Yes.
He has the kind of the veil that he talks to in the same way that Odin has. I don't remember what it is, but he has kind of a thing that he talks to. Actually, I do know what it is. So in Norse mythology, there's 2 different sects of gods.
Okay.
We know the Asgardians from Thor and Marvel and all that stuff, also known as the Aesir. But there's another realm known as the Vanir.
Okay.
That are just other gods. And the Aesir and the Vanir have been fighting for forever. But they're both gods. They can't actually kill each other. So it's just kind of this like big stick contest between the 2. But they had a temporary ceasefire and temporary peace because the 2 heads of the 2 gods traded family members.
Oh, okay. So that's absolutely this then. Yeah.
So Freya and Frey, her brother, are Vanir. Vanir is a different character. And then there is Mimir and Samir.
I'm impressed that you were able to keep all these different ears.
I've
separate.
This has been my week, Chris. I've been deep in Norse mythology this week.
Oh boy.
They went to the Vasir.
Okay.
And Freya, we all know, is the wife of Odin. Yes. Frey is kind of this very interesting god who's kind of like a half Apollo, half Aphrodite.
Okay.
Where just like everyone just loves him. Okay. Constantly.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, that's kind of I think where they're pulling a lot more of this from.
Okay, so it's much more Norse mythology there.
Yes.
Okay, but it definitely feels like they kind of reference the idea that the New Gods up on the floating city above the planet are these like really pretentious, self-involved people, and
they're guardians.
Yeah, exactly, and they refer to the citizens of New Genesis who live on the planet's surface as just bugs. And the people there also refer to themselves as bugs, like this very, very strongly established like caste system and reverence for the upper caste. I feel like New Genesis was mostly here to kind of give justification for Darkseid's actions and to explain like why he is vulnerable and to give him another enemy that he's also trying to defeat beyond Brainiac and beyond Superman.
Yeah.
I seem to recall there being more about like I seem to remember there being a thing about the Justice League like pointing out the inequality between the new gods and the rest of the people. Maybe that happens in a later episode of Justice League Unlimited.
They play it up more in Young Justice.
Okay, maybe it's there then. I seem to recall them there like being a thing around Forager and about the inequality being, you know, really discussed. And I guess I was expecting that here.
Mm-hmm.
So when it wasn't, it just felt like it's a weird subplot.
You're thinking of Blue Beetle and Forager. Because Blue Beetle goes to New Genesis in Young Justice. And that's when you like fully see... No, sorry. It's... Miss Martian. I'm sorry. Because her brother
that's right.
is the one that's like playing up the divide between the two.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That's where I'm thinking of. Mm-hmm. Okay, again, I'm expecting better storytelling than we got here. Although I think overall the A plot of this I really, really enjoyed. It was more just like that element, the New Gods element, just felt a little bit underbaked.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I guess I can see why. And I guess I was just expecting the wrong thing here, which is why it felt a little bit underbaked. But yes, I mean, it's interesting to see this battle play out. And of course, eventually, you know, Brainiac is defeated by Darkseid and Superman teaming up together, which is, it's kind of a cool little moment. Like Superman is constantly hammering on Brainiac's force field until he can like kind of pry it open. And then Darkseid, like way off in the back, is priming this like epic cannon.
He shoots through his legs.
Shoots underneath his legs. We also kind of expect him to just shoot Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was really expecting it to just be like, well, if I hit Superman, it's still going to end up hitting the ship. So I guess I'll just hit them both.
Yeah. So I want to correct something really quick. Superman didn't break the shield. Superman punched it long enough and got to get Brainiac's attention.
Oh.
Where Brainiac's hubris
That's
opened
right.
it up to shoot Superman with the laser.
Yes, you are
and Superman
correct.
just took it like a man. And then shot him between the legs. I was weirdly enough, I had this shot in my head that I think they've probably done with like Batman, but they definitely did it in The Incredibles, where Superman lands next to Darkseid after trying to punch the shield. He's like, "Do you have any better ideas?" And he's like, "I always have a better plan." And I wanted Darkseid to pick Superman up and throw him at the shield, where it's like it takes the strength of them combined to break through it.
Just throw him like a shot put.
Yes, exactly. In the same way that like Mr. Incredible throws Elastigirl when she catches Jack.
Yeah, I would have loved that actually. That would have been very fitting of that character. Yep, I got a great plan. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, I got it. Come here for a second.
Yeah, you know, they're able to like, you know, break through and essentially defeat Brainiac, or at least, you know, they destroy like Brainiac's body and they pretty much mangle his ship to the point where he, you know,
retreats.
He retreats. He flees, and so the Justice League follows suit in the Javelin. Only
partially with like Darkseid edging them on to do so.
Yeah, I forget what he says.
I don't remember either.
I don't know. But
it's like you're just gonna let him escape.
Let him escape. So go get him. It's like, okay, fine, we'll go get him. So they go in. They pursue him out to a massive asteroid, which then like the camera pulls back to reveal that it's in the shape of Brainiac's head, with like the big 3 holes in the middle of it. The asteroid that I'm now going to refer to as Asteroid B in lieu of Magneto's Asteroid M, because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I thought, and we've kind of gone through this first part relatively quickly, but a lot of this is kind of just either setup or action, I think, for the kind of payoffs in part 2.
Yeah.
But I like the cliffhanger on this.
So do I. I thought that was very cool.
It's not them in peril. It's left with a mystery. Like, we know they're heading into a situation that it's probably not going to be great for them. But it's not like a typical cliffhanger of just like, you know, someone's waiting to get hit with a laser blast or get crushed under the wheel of a giant walker tanky thingy.
Yes.
It's different than I think a lot of stuff we've seen before. It ends on like a very ominous, mysterious point. And this is also, I think, the only episode so far as we've been doing a rewatch that I actually did break between them.
Oh,
Like I
how'd you
watched
feel?
part 1 last night, and then I picked it up again with part 2 this morning. I kind of like watching it that way.
Okay.
And I apparently also, starting with season 2, Cartoon Network started airing them as one.
Yes.
They no longer would break up a week in between.
Yeah, you had the hour block of Justice League followed by
Yeah,
the other
exactly.
shows.
Which I mean, I think is the better way to go. I just think it's kind of ironic that I think one of the most titillating cliffhangers wasn't even really utilized as one. So
Yeah. I mean, they had a commercial break.
that's a commercial
They
break.
probably
Yeah.
had like 7 minutes between.
Yeah, there's a commercial for sock and boppers in between.
Lunchables.
Yeah,
Go-Gurt.
yeah. Oh my god, so many Go-Gurt ads back in the day.
Yeah. The Wonder Ball. Probably some movie.
Yeah, it was 2003. I think this came out.
Spider-Man 2?
The Spider-Man 2 was 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still could have gotten a trailer.
That's good. That's true. Yeah, could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have been a teaser.
Mhm.
Teaser for some
X2?
Spider-Man.
Is that 2003?
2002.
2. Okay.
How do I know these things?
I also know these things.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Why do we know these things?
I mean, I just gave you a Norse breakdown.
Wait, which almost led to my breakdown, just thinking, oh my god, I have to edit all of this shit.
Yes.
Don't worry, Cameron. I'll keep most of it in.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a great story. I'm not going to talk about it because it's a very long story. But for
don't.
the next car ride, look up the story of the Mead of Poets.
Okay.
It's a very cool Norse story.
The meat, M-E...
M-E-E-D, mead.
Mead. Okay.
The Mead of Poets. Yes.
Okay. Mead as in like a drink,
Mhm.
not as in like meat as in a meeting, or a meat as in food.
Right, not a meat cute.
Oh, okay. A mead cute.
A mead cute of
Oh.
poets. Yes.
What
It's
about
a very cool story.
that? Okay. What is it? The mead of
Poets.
poets. All right. I'll say that. I'll look that up.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that ends us on part 1. So I think there's more to say in part 2. So we'll just kind of mosey along here.
Speed through this.
But yeah, so they get taken down into the bowels of asteroid B, and of course Brainiac is still fully functional. And he's like, yeah, you keep destroying me, but guess what? I just keep showing up again because I have this massive complex filled with like thousands of robot Brainiacs and ships, this other stuff. Like every time you destroy a version of me, there's just more of me here still.
Yeah, Superman should know this by now.
That's the thing. He keeps being surprised. He even pushes back on Darkseid. He's like, wait, no, I destroyed Brainiac. I'm like, wait, which time did you destroy Brainiac? Like that first time he showed up on Earth, or that second time when he's like left a piece of him inside of LexCorp computers, or that other time when he controlled Bruce Wayne, or that other time when he showed up in Dakota City and took over Richie? Which time did you destroy him?
Yeah. You never finish the job.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole theme of this episode, though, is Superman never finishes the
He just
job.
never gets the job. That's true, because he tries.
Yeah.
He tries his damnedest.
And this time Batman stopped him.
Yeah. So I did look it up because, we watched, obviously, Static Shock, all of it first, and then got to this. But these were airing concurrently. So this episode aired in, I had this here, July of 2003. A League of Their Own, the Static Shock episode featuring Brainiac and the Justice League, was March of 2003.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it would have been much more fresh in people's minds.
Yeah. So it would have been, 1, fresh in people's minds, but 2, probably should have been fresh in the minds of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Didn't we fight this guy like a month
A
ago?
month ago?
Yeah. And he's back again. What a surprise. But obviously Brainiac can't be killed, essentially. And so he once again offers Superman, like, come join me. Come join me, and we will lead a great Kryptonian renaissance across the galaxy.
Yes, we will give them Kryptonian Little Mermaid, Kryptonian
Exactly.
Beauty and the Beast, Kryptonian Aladdin,
And Superman,
the Kryptonian Renaissance.
Kryptonian renaissance. Superman just, attempts to tell him to go to hell before he's cut off.
Yes, thank you, censors.
But again, this is another moment where this is not the Superman we know.
He's so mad.
Because he hates Brainiac too. Because he hates Darkseid for very good reasons, for basically making him look bad. But he also hates Brainiac because he's the last piece of his homeworld left, and he's a parasite and a threat to the entire
But not
galaxy.
Parasite.
But he's not. It's true. He's not parasite. He's a parasite.
Yes.
But yeah, like Brainiac even tries to lure Superman in, to seduce him with images of his parents from Krypton. Like, that's gotta be really painful to sit there and have your past that you have been, denied connection with, dangled in front of you by one of the worst beings in the entire galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So no wonder, and he's already pretty pissed to begin with. So he's having none of this shit.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love how mad he's getting.
there's right after this moment, there's another thing that happens, which I was very confused by, and I'd love for you to help explain it to me.
Okay.
Martian Manhunter makes a force field.
I was also confused by that too.
Yes. So a horde of Brainiacs come out and start attacking the three of them. And Hawkgirl gets hit, or she's kind of pinned in the corner with Manhunter. And he creates a force field to block the rays from Brainiacs.
So I think what happens in that moment is he grabs a piece of Brainiac tech that creates a force field and uses it to his own ends.
Okay, that I will accept that. That makes more sense.
Because the animation there was a little bit quick and choppy.
Mhm.
Because I mean, also I wouldn't entirely put it past them just randomly give him one of those powers for a second, but I think that's what's supposed to be happening in that sequence. It's just not animated to make that clear.
Got it.
Or at least that's what I'm going to say is happening.
That's fair.
Yes.
I will accept that answer. Thank you for your explanation.
Yes.
So they're beating up all the Brainiacs, and then suddenly a new beam comes into play.
Another boom tube opens up.
Another boom tube, and Darkseid comes and knocks out Hawkgirl and Manhunter in one foul swoop.
Yeah, with his Omega beams that sometimes kill and sometimes don't.
Sometimes evaporate.
Yeah, sometimes disintegrate people like Darkseid.
Who's Darkseid? Thank you.
Yeah, the little snivelly weasel guy.
Yes. And so then with Brainiac and Darkseid together, they take out Superman and put him up in that same kind of like Gertie rig thing that we saw Manhunter in last week.
Yeah, exactly. The
James Bond rig.
Yeah. So what a surprise. Darkseid did betray them just as Superman assumed he would.
Yes.
So they've actually teamed up together, and the deal that they've made is that Brainiac will spare Apocalypse in exchange for Superman, because Brainiac wants to essentially extract Superman's DNA to help Brainiac further evolve. I guess he's reached the peak of his robot presence, and I guess the implication here is that he probably wants to do some sort of weird like biotechnical android cyborg situation.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
But then a second later, when Darkseid describes it, his version of evolution is the same, is basically the same way that like the Death Star evolved in episode 7, where he describes it as like, oh, as Brainiac, he can only absorb one planet at a time, but with Superman, he can absorb an entire galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, so he's not changing, he's just getting faster.
Yeah,
at what he does.
It's a little bit unclear what exactly Brainiac wants from Superman, because even when he's put in let's call it what it is, he's basically put on a crucifix.
Yeah.
In case that metaphor
what?
wasn't
This
landing.
is a Jesus metaphor?
What? But yeah, so he's put in this crucifix thing, and then he becomes the core of some sort of weapon, which, what a surprise, Darkseid then betrays Brainiac too.
Bum, bum, bum. Who's out for only themselves all the time.
All the time. Some two betrayals here. And so then Darkseid takes over Brainiac's system, and now he starts to use this new weapon that Kal-El is powering to attack New Genesis. And so this is what I was saying, where I think that New Genesis was primarily included just so that Brainiac or Darkseid had another enemy that he was motivated to take out.
Yeah, bigger motive.
Yeah, bigger motive that would make him want to betray everyone all the time. But yeah, it's kind of, I mean, the motivation behind them wanting Superman's a little unclear, and even Darkseid's motivations are always a little bit unclear. Like, he's always talking about the anti-life equation, which my understanding is that the idea is that it basically is forced subjugation, that it takes away willpower.
Yes, it's the removal of free will.
Yeah. So that's not very clearly defined here.
I don't think it's ever really been clearly defined until Young Justice.
I think that, yeah, maybe they did the best version of it, because it's not clear what his motivations are. And he basically acknowledged, because he thinks that Highfather somehow will help him find the anti-life equation. I don't know if it's through the source wall or what, but he realizes that in lieu of being able to get the actual anti-life equation, he can just use Brainiac's technology to essentially the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. That works.
Sure. I guess that works. But of course, so he betrays them both. Yeah. And then now Superman's trussed up in this machine. And I love that Batman's solution is just to smack the console, and then it causes everything to blow up.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because he has that moment where he's very Batman-y, where he like grapples like across multiple platforms, gets in front of the computer, He tells them, save Superman, I got this. And he looks at it and just goes, I don't know, and just hits it.
Yeah, this isn't English.
Yeah. Like, why even bother? I mean, it's kind of fun. It feels a little bit out of character. I feel like normally he would literally just have some sort of like, Deus Ex Machina device.
His own version of a mother box.
Exactly. Yeah. Or he would have like spent time playing with the mother box, learning how to like manipulate it himself.
He calls up Alfred.
Yeah.
Do you have the English to Apocalyptin dictionary on hand?
Yeah. I got a lot of translating to do here.
Yeah.
Saddle up. But yeah, then
Clark, hold on a second. You gotta translate this.
Hang on, give me a minute. But yeah, so now all of a sudden the place is going to blow, of course. And so they're trying to escape. And Superman insists on staying behind because he is going to beat Darkseid to death.
This great quote, I won't stop until you're just a greasy smear on my fist.
Yeah.
Like, fucking let's go.
I mean, like, this, not only have we seen a lot of Superman in a way we never have before in this episode, it continues to escalate.
Yeah.
And it gets to that point where he is fully intending to kill Darkseid, even if it means he dies in the process.
Yeah.
Like, he is beyond rational thinking. He is going to kill this man, whatever you want to call him.
God.
This God, at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where once again, Batman has to step in and be the voice of reason and come and save him. Like, and you've mentioned this a lot, the Paper Town speech, the Paper Man speech or whatever that we get at the end, because it's not a surprise to say that this is not the last time we're going to see Darkseid.
Right. Or Brainiac.
But
or Orion, or Superman, or Batman.
Exactly. But in this moment, it is very much designed to be a climactic point. I would say this kind of really serves as a proper finale to Superman the Animated Series. Like, it's him going up against two of his most powerful villains, and the line has been drawn. He's going to take this fucker down.
Yes.
No matter what. And it's a prelude to that Paper Town speech. He doesn't have that full speech, but the intent is the same, which is that he can wreck this guy, and he's not going to be holding back this time.
I'm always holding back.
Yeah.
That's the problem with you. You think you can outdo me, but I'm always holding back.
Yeah. And so he goes full tilt. He messes him up pretty bad. And it's only Batman boom-tombing in to get him. And to your point, he calls him Kent, like,
to try and get to his humanity.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
No.
Doesn't matter. He's beyond reason at this point. I love this. To me, this is proof that Superman is an interesting character.
Yes.
I really disagree with anyone who says that Superman's boring and people don't know how to write for him. And also, Superman can be dark. He's really, really dark in this, but in a way that makes sense. It still fits his character. I don't still think that the broody version of Superman that we got in the Man of Steel and the rest of the Snyderverse really makes sense from a character perspective.
No, because he always has hope in humanity. Yeah,
exactly. And he has decided that this one being is the most antithetical version of hope possible. He's going to take him down.
Yes.
Yeah, for the greater sense of hope, he will destroy this one being. Mm-hmm. And I can believe.
We also just watched him basically take out his own son. So Orion boom-tombs in really quick, and they have a quick fight between Orion and Darkseid. And Darkseid just bear hugs him to death.
Yeah, exactly.
As a good father does.
Yes, exactly. I love you so much.
You are my son.
You're my son. Yeah, but he beats the shit out of him. And then, of course, the station blows up and there's nothing, left but dust. And we are meant to assume that, both Brainiac and Darkseid were destroyed in the process.
Maybe Orion.
No, Orion got sucked into the boom tube as well.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yeah, so when Batman comes to save Superman, Orion, who's unconscious, gets drawn in, but Darkseid, who's buried in the rubble, can't or isn't. And Batman tells Superman, like, he's gone, like nothing would have survived that. And again, a great line here. Superman looks him dead in the eyes and goes, "Bruce, you're not always right." Mm-hmm. So, holy shit.
Which I'm sure you also saw this. I read the notes in an interview with Bruce Timm. He's like, "Oh yeah, when I wrote that line, I wasn't talking about Batman. That was to me by me."
Yep. That is apparently something he is told often. Yes. And when it comes to the relationship between Bruce and Barbara, those people are right.
Yes.
And he is not.
Or any female character that he draws.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. But no, like I I really, really enjoyed this, but you weren't quite as warm on it. I'm curious why. What didn't land for you quite as well?
Okay, I think it goes back to that problem of the dark side we get in Young Justice, especially the most recent season of Young Justice, is so much more interesting than this one.
Okay.
And at the current state, I think I was a little upset, and I don't want to dive into making this a 3-parter because I can't think of it right now.
Yeah.
But this is something I want to build up to, like having the 2 biggest Superman villains in the same episode.
Okay.
I get that it's like the intro to season 2, and it's like it's supposed to get everyone hyped.
Yeah.
But like I want this to be something we're building up to for an entire season. Like we're
Okay.
hinting at
Yeah.
we're hinting at Brainiac still being out there. Maybe like Green Lantern knows, and he just doesn't want to tell Superman. But like someone knows that he's still out there.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of build up the relationship better between Apocalypse and the New Gods and New Genesis. And have that going on. We can have Mr. Miracle a little bit more. We can have Orion a little bit more. What's the other guy whose name I never remember? Something Ray. The guy who slapped Wonder Woman's butt.
Oh, I'll have to look him up.
Light Ray.
I can't remember his name.
Whoever he is. Have a little bit more build up with all of these other
Light
characters.
Light Ray,
oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's a good guess.
Yeah, nice.
Dumb name.
Yeah, it is.
So then when you have this moment, even if it's just like a mid-season finale or something, where you have this huge moment where the stakes, because like honestly, I've forgotten a lot of Superman the Animated Series. So the stakes didn't feel there for me.
Okay, like a lot of this stuff more or less came out of nowhere.
Yes.
I mean, that's fair. I think there is something to be said about that. Like, I think if you take this episode and get rid of the rest of the Justice League, put at the end of Superman the Animated Series, and maybe still have Batman be a presence.
Just have Superman go to Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Batman goes New Genesis.
Yeah.
And just keep it at that.
Yeah, exactly. And there was talk about them wanting to do one more season of Superman that would focus in on that legacy element of him betraying everybody. And I think they picked up those threads here, and they continue to do so down the line. Yeah. But I do see what you mean, that like, because all that stuff has been so long for us, but also, I mean, it would have been a while even in the DCAU.
Yeah, Superman finale was 98?
Yeah, I think 98
or 4-year break
99 or something like that. Yeah. So it's been a number of years. So, I mean, if you kept tabs on all that stuff, it makes sense. But here,
there were reruns back then.
Yeah. Here, yeah, that's fair. It does kind of come out of nowhere. And you're right. This does feel like the finale to an arc that was never set up in this show, at least.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it is a great episode. It is very entertaining.
Yeah, it is.
I love all the elements individual of each other.
Okay.
I think they work decently well together.
Yeah.
They just could have been better.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this still stands as maybe my favorite episode we've had so far. I really, really, really like this. Yeah. But I remembered these episodes, though. Okay. I remember all of them to some degree, but I remember this finale in particular being like pretty cool. Yeah, mostly.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't upset with the episode. I was upset with the potential this episode had.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. And we've talked about this a lot, that, you know, we are kind of burdened by
foresight.
Well, modern storytelling now.
Yeah.
We had things like Young Justice, which do arcs, season-long arcs really, really well, and it's covering a lot of similar territory.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's tough to go back and watch the thing that set the template going forward. Like this show did it first, and someone else came along and did it better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to go back and reverse.
It's the same thing with the whole Vandal Savage stuff from last week.
Yeah.
That, again, Young Justice season 1 is probably maybe the peak of superhero storytelling for me.
It's a really good season. Yeah. Yeah. And so just other stuff, it just doesn't feel as complete because it's not as intricate. So,
yeah.
That's fair.
But still a great episode. Definitely going to make the short list.
Oh, it's absolutely going to make the short list. I mean, it has to for canonical reasons.
That is true.
But also, I think it's worth watching. But yeah, I mean, as always, do want to try and acknowledge some of the great guest voice cast we have. A lot of them in this one. Lot of big hitters. So I mean, we have Michael Ironside, of course, returning to voice Darkseid, who is just honestly, when I hear Darkseid and it's not Michael Ironside, it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't sound right. Like, his voice is so perfect. We, of course, have the great Michael Dorn, a.k.a. Worf from Star Trek, as Calabac, Darkseid's son. We have also from Star Trek, Renee Auberjonois, who not too long ago, like fairly recently passed, but also very prolific voice actor as Desaad and Steppenwolf. And then we have Pinky himself, Rob Paulson, as Light Ray, which is pretty fantastic. And then, of course, we have to acknowledge Ron Perlman taking over for the role of Orion. Mm-hmm. I mean, just there's so much gravel in these voices.
Yeah.
Collectively. It's fucking great.
Wait, I think you're getting your characters mixed up. You said Pinky. That's Rob Paulson.
Yeah, I said Pinky.
And this is Ron Perlman.
Rob Paulson and Ron Perlman are in this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I blanked out for a second. I was combining the two characters.
Rob Paulson was Light Ray and Ron Perlman is Orion.
Yes.
So, but yeah, just so many.
Hellboy himself.
Yes, so many gruff, gritty, manly voices here. Mm-hmm. It's so good. And then Tara Strong also voiced a character, Sarah. Which one was Sarah?
Oh, the little girl.
Oh, that's right. The little girl.
Like obviously, Tara Strong is she does all the baby voices.
Of course, yeah. And then of course we get Corey Burton once again returning as Brainiac. Another character that when it's not, I only really think of this Brainiac voice whenever I see Brainiac anywhere.
Yeah, same.
It's like it's so perfect. It's just so perfectly deadpan.
Yeah, it's so cold.
Yeah, it's so good. But I mean, I was really, really impressed by these in a pretty damn awesome way to start out season 2. Start out high. So, but since this is our 175th episode of the podcast,
the holographic
episode, we do want to do a Cameron's Question Corner. So we're going to go slightly out of order here. And we wanted to do something that was DCAU related.
And very related to this episode, as you've been talking about a lot recently.
So Cameron, what's our question this week?
Well, I will be upfront. This is not my question. This is Chris. You were graciously letting me, you're teeing up the ball for me to hit, but it is your ball. Okay. This is your question.
Okay, yeah. So the question is, if you could add one more season to any show in the DCAU, which would it be?
Yes.
So
I think my answer is pretty obvious. It's obviously Static.
Okay.
We talked about it a lot as we were coming to the Static finale. Those last 3 episodes are really starting to set up amazing stuff. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of patterned out.
Yeah.
And I attempted to try and figure out what the next season would look like. Mm-hmm. Because while it did patter out, they did kind of end a lot of stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I could do a whole season, but I think I could write like a 3-episode TV movie.
Okay.
Where you open up on Alva Jr. still in the hospital, because I don't remember us ever seeing him fully healed.
I think it happened off screen.
Did we ever see him like walking around?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I'm going to play off that then.
Okay.
We see him get unstonified. Mm-hmm. Whatever the wording is.
Yes, unstoned. Yes.
So I'm imagining him in the hospital and he wakes up and he's freaking out. And he's like, where is he? Where is he? And he's kind of running to the hospital. He's trying to figure out, like, where is he? They finally take him down. It's like, what do you need? He's like, where's Virgil? Because he knows his identity.
Oh, that's right.
So then you would do a quick cut, and it's a remix of the theme song, and we're playing through the intro like it's actually Virgil getting up in the morning, but in like now time.
Yeah.
And so he gets up, and they're doing like a remix version, and he like bumps into his dad, and his dad's like, do you have your extracurricular activity this afternoon? He does like that little wink that he knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, don't worry, Pop will be back in time for dinner. And they take off, and they, him and Richie walk down. I've only planned out to like
that's fine.
The 3-minute mark, and then I'll stop.
That's all you really need.
And they're walking down the street, and it's still the theme song going. They walk by a TV monitor, and you see, it's the wall of TVs that we joked about before. Mm-hmm. You see a shot of a different hospital where you see the Bang Babies all reverting back to their natural state. I'm going to say it's probably Carmendillo they're talking to.
Yeah.
Who's now like a normal person again. I think we already saw in the finale, but whatever. And they're talking about like, oh yeah, it's like the Bang Baby menace is finally ending its reign on Dakota City. And then that gets interrupted because there's an alarm that goes off somewhere else. And it's like another Bang Baby doing the best to try and, continue their life of crime, even with their power fading and it's very much weaker. Gear up. They go and take him down. They're like, how did you like how are your powers still here? And I'm thinking maybe, Chris,
Jesus.
Maybe this is still like a Christmas themed episode.
Of course
then we have
it
that great
is.
line where Static is like, "Didn't you hear? I made the good list this year." And then he like zaps the guy.
So proud of that reverse engineering on that joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as far as I made it so far.
Great.
But I think Alva is going to be Alva Jr. is going to be
Yeah.
the overarching villain for this.
No, and I think you're on the right track, because I was trying to figure this out too. The problem with a lot of these shows is by the time we got to the end, they kind of run out of things to do.
Yeah.
Like, you think about the new Batman Adventures had done a nice job, or excuse me, BTOS had done a nice job about, taking the villains in different interesting directions, but eventually, it kind of tuckered out, and then the thread picked up with the new Batman Adventures, and, it still did some new clever things, a lot of those villains, but we had done so much territory there that I feel like the unexplored space of that show is more stuff around the Bat family. Like we still never really got a proper episode of all of them working together. We never really got a good wrap up on the Batman Catwoman dynamic.
Yep.
Like, I feel like there were things that they could have continued there, but a lot of that stuff was already taken care of, even if not to great effect, in Batman Beyond. And Batman Beyond, too, you got to the end, you're like, we're kind of done. Like, there's not that much story really to tell here. And obviously everything left over at the end of Superman got picked up by Justice League. And I feel like Justice League kind of ended at the right point, then transitioned to Justice League Unlimited. And even Justice League Unlimited, we kind of got one more season than expected. Like, Cadmus was supposed to be the finale, and they gave us one more, which is still pretty good. So and obviously we're not doing Zeta. So, I mean...
But the finale, Chris.
But honestly, like, I agree with you. I think the one show that still had material left to explore was Static Shock. Like, we don't know a lot about what happens to him between the end of that show and then when we see him in the various flash forwards we get. And I think there's a lot of story still to tell. And, to your point, we didn't get a lot of good stuff with him and Pops after Pops had found out who he was. And we didn't get a chance to explore what does it mean to be a hero when all of your villains of the week are gone.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And, it's I think that's the one that you could do now and actually make it like a season 4 and apply some more modern storytelling with, like a season arc built around it and have it really add something.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would be hard to go back and add now onto the other shows and have it still work. But that's the one that I think still had the most potential before it ended, even if that last season was overall not great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, season 3 was its peak.
Absolutely, yeah.
To the
Season
point,
4, yeah.
Yeah, to the point where
was...
even as I said, they could add on a season 4 now. It's because I had forgotten that a season 4 had existed. Because a lot of it's pretty forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. I think that's the one show that had a little bit of...
so some gas in the chamber.
A little bit of gas left. So, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's enough gas for a full season. So maybe, like I said, like the TV movie.
Yeah.
Like an 8-episode arc.
Yeah. But I think that's the only one that I think really has more room to explore. I mean, we're kind of getting sort of a new season of the new Batman Adventures with the comic series, which I have started but haven't finished yet.
Yeah, there's also Future's End, which I looked into for the Batman Beyond story.
Oh yeah, and that's right. I've read a lot of the comics that are set sort of loosely at the end of the Batman Beyond space, and there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
But not. I don't think enough to really keep that story going.
And I think the Static show is different enough from the comic where it can still, we don't have to parallel them perfectly. Like I feel like we have to do for Batman Beyond now.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, I agree with you. Static
Thanks.
Shocks. Yeah.
We'll figure out what to do after the 3rd minute of the episode.
Exactly. Eventually we'll have more
I planned for
more than 3 minutes of our full season / TV movie to go off of
I'm
here.
pretty proud of those 3 minutes.
It's pretty solid.
It's Christmas time, don't forget.
Of course. You had to squeeze that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, should we do our plugs?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and let us know
what
you think.
Yeah, if anyone has thoughts on what additional season you would like to see, and if you got some thoughts,
Maddie, send us your fucking Zeta season 3 pitch.
I mean, to be fair, the Watchtower database, they've done the Justice League continuation comics, Justice League Legacy for a while. And there's some really good stuff in there, and they kind of explore the whole universe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I bet they have some ideas too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you have some thoughts, let us know at TimTalkPod on, let's be honest, Twitter and Instagram are the best places to reach us.
That's
so,
us.
yeah. But yeah, Cameron, what do you got to plug this week?
I have two things to plug really quick. I've been reading a book, Chris. A book.
Shocking.
It's a children's book.
Well,
It's a book.
but it's progress.
Progress. Baby
Yeah.
steps. It's a book called Kingdom Keepers. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
This series kind of came out in my window where I wasn't into Disney.
You had a window when you... That's true.
Yeah, I had a pretty long window.
That's true. Yeah, and you were like really not into Disney at all.
Yeah, I hated Disney for a bit.
And then it came back.
Yeah, your fault.
I know. Don't remind me.
I
am Frankenstein. You are my monster.
Yes. Kingdom Keepers is basically Night at the Museum, but at Disney World.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, where it's...
Wait, is it actual Disney World?
It's actual Disney.
Okay,
These are Disney official books.
Okay, it's not like a pseudo park sort of thing. It's actual Disney World.
This is real Disney World. And I think the reason I'm okay reading it is because like I can see it
right
so vividly.
Is that why you don't read otherwise? Is because you don't have an imagination?
Yeah, I don't. It's just a fucking white painting up here.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, I do know that your brain sees the world in animation.
I do.
So it converts live action to animation.
It does.
But it can't generate its own.
No, it needs a reference point.
Yeah.
But no, it's a fun kind of, it's 6 books,
Mhm.
and I'm only on the first one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's okay so far, but it's a fun premise for kids. Kind of realize there's something weird going on at the parks after hours,
Mhm.
and it's them trying to figure out the mystery of it.
Is like one of the animatronics, is there like a Westworld element in here too? Does like
Yes, all the animatronics are alive.
Okay, does like Captain Hook come off of Peter Pan and go around and try and kill you?
I haven't met them yet, but I have met the Pirates of the Caribbean pirates.
Okay.
Where Blackbeard starts a fight with the 4 kids. 5 kids, what I'm saying, there's 5 of them, the 5 kids.
It's pretty fantastic though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's pretty imaginative.
Okay.
I like.
Is it is it sophisticated enough to be entertaining for non-kids? I say this to you recognizing that you're essentially a child.
No.
Okay, so it's not like DuckTales, which is a kids show but is entertaining enough and sophisticated enough to be entertaining for adults.
I think so I'll kind of spoil up to like chapter 10-ish. So the way they get into the park is these 5, so at Disney World in book, they created these like virtual helpers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kids that they're basically cast members that can appear anywhere in the park and answer your questions about anything.
Okay.
And the 5 holograms are based off the 5 kids. And when the kids fall asleep at night, they wake up as the holograms in the park. And so that's how they're able to get in, and that's how they're able to see all the animatronics coming to life.
Oh, okay.
And so it's kind of a weird, they're like half hologram, half human.
Yeah, seems like a weird plot wrinkle.
Yeah. It's something like the Imagineers made up. And there's like, it's basically saying that Walt Disney was not a stonecutter. What are they called?
A mason?
Yeah. He's not a mason, but he kind of created his own masons.
Of course. I mean, the thing is, Walt Disney would.
He did. He would.
Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny that he did, but he would.
He would. He would, though.
But no, it's interesting.
Okay.
But my other plug, which is way more important, is I started New Animaniacs.
Oh.
Chris, it's so good.
Is it good? Okay.
I've only watched the first episode so far.
Okay.
But holy shit, this might be like, even comparable to DuckTales, this might be the best rebooted show ever.
Interesting, because while we were recording, I had gotten a text message from my brother saying, wish I could say I was just as excited by the Animaniacs, but it's not the same. It's clever, but not the same as the old ones.
Oh, I thought I did opposite. I think it was just as good.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But again, that's only from one episode.
Okay.
And I'm sure they put it's everything that we talked about before too, about like the musical numbers and staying on topic and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Okay.
I'm very excited to keep going.
Okay. Glad to hear that you liked it. Yeah. I to be honest, this week has been so crazy for me. I kind of forgot that was coming down.
I also forgot
pipeline.
it was out. Yeah. There was no promotion for it.
No, none whatsoever. Because it was yesterday?
It came out Thursday.
What?
Yeah, they dropped every episode on Thursday.
What the hell?
Yeah, so it's not even like a weekly thing, which I think would have been better for it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for reminding me that exists. I do need to go watch that.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear it's good. We were hopeful.
And there are two Bill Clinton saxophones in there. Because of course.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
That's all I really wanted.
But yeah, those are my plugs. What about you?
I watched a movie recently that I really, really enjoyed. It was Dr. Sleep.
Oh, the sequel kind of to Shining.
Exactly. So it's interesting. So it's essentially a sequel to the story of The Shining.
Yes,
now,
not the movie.
Well, both.
Great.
So here's the interesting thing is, The Shining, obviously, a horror classic from Stanley Kubrick, but also
infamously. For those who don't remember, it is that scene from Ready Player One.
Yes, because you've never seen the actual Shining.
No.
Of course. Which, honestly, it is great. I have not rewatched it in probably 2 or 3 years, but it is excellent. But it's also fucking weird and confusing because it's Kubrick.
Yeah.
But it is really, really good. But Stephen King famously hated the adaptation of The Shining, and I guess it just deviated too much from the book, and I've never read the book. I don't know enough to know what specifically deviated. But
didn't he make a movie?
Yes,
on his version that bombed.
There was a TV version starring, I want to say, Steven Weber in the Jack Nicholson role, which I saw a piece of when it aired originally, like in the 90s or whatever. But so he famously did not like the adaptation. And so Mike Flanagan is the director on this, who's done a lot of stuff in the horror space. He did The Haunting of Hill House for Netflix. He's done other Stephen King stuff too. He did Gerald's Game, the Netflix movie adaptation, which I've heard is really good. And it does have Carla Gugino and Bruce Greenwood, two of my favorite actors. I do want to watch that at some point. But so Flanagan, though, had an interesting challenge ahead of him. He had to make a movie that was simultaneously a sequel to The Shining, because at the end of the day, it's a movie distributed by Warner Brothers, who made the original, and that's the way they're going to market it, and they want to have those visual touchstones, very famous visual touchstones in there. But he also wanted it to be a sequel to The Shining, the book, and to adhere to kind of what Stephen King's intention was. And I would say that he walked that tightrope very, very effectively. It's not a horror film per se. It is a thriller more than anything else. And it's basically much more about a group of seemingly immortal kind of migrants, vagrants, whatever you want to call them, who feed off the energy of those who, like Danny from The Shining, can shine, who have, kind of like telepathic or at least supernatural powers.
Yeah.
And that's like the root story there. And so it brings Danny back to the original, played this time by Ewan McGregor, who we love.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really, really good. I mean, it's a little bit long. It's like 2.5 hours, but it never felt slow to me. It's meticulous in its pacing, but I was engaged all the way through. Rebecca Ferguson is the main villain, who is incredible. She's most famous, of course, for playing Ilsa Faust in the most recent Mission Impossible movies. She was also the opera singer in The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
She is
beautiful voice.
Excellent. Not her voice.
Well, whoever did it, great voice.
Great voice. She's excellent in this. She's really, really good, really interesting. Great character motivations all the way through. Unsurprisingly, the Overlook Hotel from the first movie plays a part in this new one. Mm-hmm. But it never felt like a rehash or like it was trying to live in the other shadows. It much more felt like a totally original story that was drawing on those elements in a very effective and not like clumsy way. I was really, really impressed by it. It's a little bit outside my normal genre, but I would highly recommend it. I think it's better if you know The Shining and have seen The Shining. Mm-hmm. But it also might be good to have like a little bit of space in between them, because I think they're their own distinct things. A friend of mine watched them both for the first time back to back, and I think actually maybe it lessened his experience on the sequel.
Okay. Yeah, because I had a lot of coworkers were really raving about Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep, yeah.
Okay,
so it's honestly,
I don't want to discredit his medical school.
Of course, yeah, exactly. Sleep Empty. It's really, really good. Highly, highly recommend it. So worth checking out. It's on HBO Max. So
yes, yeah, it's been kind of at the bottom of my list, but I'll start moving it up.
Yeah, but again, watch The Shining first.
Okay.
Yeah, it's The Shining. It's scary, but it's not like.
No, it's that we've talked about it before. For a movie like that, it's been parodied so much. I know every scene.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen them in that order.
Yeah, it's like I watched The Exorcist for the first time recently. And again, it's scary, but it's not like one of those that kept me awake. I was more just like really blown away by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out. So.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that does it for us this week. So yeah, if you want to reach us, you can find us at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Gmail. Like we said, would love to hear your suggestions for one more season of a DCAU show.
Yes, unfortunately, the value of this holographic episode has greatly depleted now that we're at the end.
Yep.
So we are now worth nothing.
Worth nothing. We published too many episodes, and now it has no value whatsoever.
Yes. So I apologize if anyone was like banking on this holographic.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, bad.
Not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you do your intro or your outro?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Let's let you do your thing. No, you can find me at Lordifer on Twitter and Instagram.
Great. You can find me at Cameron.Dexter.
Wow. Only done this 200 some odd times.
Yes, 175 times. You can find my art at Cameron.Dexter if you want to see my face that hasn't changed much except I grew a beard.
Yeah.
But not online.
It's a good beard.
Find that. Thank you.
Yeah.
At CamDexter_adventures. My mom does not approve of the beard.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. But no, thank you for listening. As always, thank you for helping us get to 175 episodes.
Yes.
This is really, really exciting. I should have looked up to see roughly where we're going to land for our 200th. I think it's probably going to be somewhere in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being anywhere else because that's all that's left.
No other options left. But yeah, so we're chugging along.
Are we going to make it? Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have more than 200 episodes. I did map it out not too long ago. We're gonna make it beyond 200 episodes. So I think our 200th will be a slightly bigger fanfare than this one. But
yeah, I'll bring like one of those things.
Yeah, air horns.
No, not the air horn. The one that like
unravel. Like the party things.
Yeah,
it's like a kazoo with a wacky waving inflatable tube man on the end of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever that's called. There's a name. I just can't remember what it is. Yeah. But no, thank you as always for listening. Really, really appreciate it. Pretty excited to get here and to continue on. And, we will be continuing next week with another one of my favorite episodes, Tabula Rasa, which is the introduction of a Mazo.
Ooh, okay.
Really, really good episodes. Very much looking forward to that. But until then, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Happy 175.
175.
Merry Christmas. It's after Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas now.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bye-bye.